Warning, your healing is a trauma trap. The healing trap defined when growth becomes avoidance. To understand the trap, split healing into two models. Healing as identity is when the practices become who you are. You're the person who's always processing, refining, upgrading. Healing as integration is different. It shows up in life, clearer boundaries, faster repairs, steadier tone, choices that hold under stress. Here's the loop most people don't realize they're in: relief, ritual, rhetoric, repeat. Something spikes anxiety, conflict, uncertainty, a boundary you owe. You reach for a ritual that reliably lowers arousal. It works. Relief lands. Then the rhetoric comes, language that explains the feeling as progress. My intuition is protecting my alignment. The nervous system hears, we're safe. Next time discomfort rises, your body remembers the shortest path to safety. Back to the ritual. Relief again. Behavior in real life? Unchanged. One common tell. Language gets loftier while life gets smaller. Social circle narrows to people who speak the code. Decisions require ceremonial conditions. Ordinary friction gets framed as moral risk. Meanwhile, the calendar shows more healing hours and fewer consequential actions. Underneath, two attachment drivers often run the engine. First, approval regulation. If your early safety hinged on pleasing or performing, doing the work becomes a socially rewarded way to earn worth. The fawn response can mature into spiritual perfectionism, appeasing with purity instead of compliance. Second, relief addiction. When your nervous system has learned that arousal equals threat, anything that rapidly downshifts state feels like wisdom. Avoidant coping, well documented as a maintainer of PTSD symptoms, gets rebranded as discernment. Cognitively, a few mechanics strengthen the loop. Fluency bias makes familiar phrases feel true. Repeat not aligned, enough times and your body grants it a credibility pass. Confirmation loops form as you curate inputs that validate your frame and mute those that complicate it. And relief spikes, those quick drops in pressure after a ritual or a righteous explanation, reward the very moves that keep you distant from reality tests. Stakes are not abstract. Trust erodes. First with yourself, because your words and your follow-through drift apart. Then with others, who start waiting for proof instead of promises. Relationships get brittle. Bumps get moralized instead of negotiated. Agency stalls because risk shrinks. Fewer asks, fewer boundaries, fewer ship dates. You feel principled, but your world gets tight. None of this means rituals or spirituality are the problem. Rituals can regulate anxiety and focus attention. Spiritual practice can deepen compassion and widen capacity. The trap is function. Are you using the tool to meet reality more directly, or to avoid contact while calling it growth? Let's make this practical with a micro-story. Mira keeps booking retreats after hard weeks at work. Each time, she returns clear, serene, certain about her next chapter. Back at the office, scope creeps. She swallows the conversation, then compensates with another intensive. Her language elevates. Her calendar looks impressive. Her direct report still doesn't have a decision. Integration would sound like this. I owe one boundary about scope by Thursday. Identity sounds like this. I'm protecting my frequency. Here's another. Jonas journals nightly about childhood wounds and accountability. He sends vulnerable messages after blow-ups. 2 weeks later, the same blow-up scripts run. The journal grows. Repairs don't. He's practicing expression without altering behavior. Integration would show up as one changed pattern repeated for 30 days. Shorter time to repair, one fewer interruption in meetings, a pre-commitment to pause before replying. So how do you test yourself without shaming yourself? Start with function over feeling. Ask, what changed by when, observable where? If you can't name a behavior delta others could verify, downgrade confidence. Next, examine timing. Do your biggest insights arrive right after discomfort and mostly conclude with exits? Cancel, pause, break the container? That's relief logic. Integration pairs discomfort with conditions. Yes, if scope is written. No, and here's the alternative I can sustain. Watch your language for purity frames. Words like high vibration, ego, and alignment aren't wrong. But if they end conversations rather than open tests, we can't discuss this outside the container. Your doubt means you're not ready. You're being routed away from verification. Translate them into neutral, testable terms. We prefer exclusive influence. Send agenda 24 hours early. Success is 0 same-day edits. If a claim can't survive an operational definition, you've located theatre. Monitor incentive structures. If your progress keeps pointing to more access, more time, more dependence, more sessions, more approvals, more advanced work, you're in a ramp-in model, not a taper-out model. Healthy support starts planning its exit on day one. If your independence reduces someone's power, money, or status, expect pressure disguised as care. Spot the relief rhetoric pair. You feel a surge, perform a ritual, pressure drops, and a sentence appears to explain why stepping back was true. Instead of trusting the sentence, trust a 24-hour delay. Relief decays quickly. Clarity persists. If tomorrow you can name a specific mismatch with a condition to test, that's signal. If tomorrow the only thing left is off, it was avoidance. Finally, zoom out. If your life increasingly requires specialized inputs to feel stable, your system is optimizing for control, not capacity. Integration expands where you can be yourself without elaborate conditions. Messy draft rooms, ordinary deadlines, honest conversations that end with a plan instead of a poem. We're not removing meaning. We're sequencing it. Repair first, then meaning. Behavior first, then narrative. And when the story and the calendar disagree, let the calendar win. Here's the revelation people miss. The same nervous system shortcuts that fuel avoidant coping and the approval economy get industrialized in certain rooms. It's not random. It's engineered. A 4-phase control loop recruits normal needs, attachment, certainty, relief from decision fatigue, and turns them into dependence. You'll see flavors of communal narcissism, care as status, purity tests, and variable reinforcement dressed as love. Let's map the loop, so you can spot it fast and break it without drama. The 4-phase loop. Idealize Enmesh Destabilize Harvest. To see the trap in motion, watch how it moves through rooms. It starts with idealize. This is the finally, someone gets me phase. Answers arrive fast. Claims feel clean. Your language gets mirrored back with surgical precision. Meanwhile, uncertainty drops because certainty is being handed to you prepackaged. The relief is real. That's why this phase lands. But listen for how scope evaporates. Promises get bigger as details get smaller. This will unlock your pattern. Great. Change what, by when measured how. If clear answers don't land on paper, you're in glow, not ground. Now in mesh. The pronouns shift. We. Our. Container. Your decisions begin to route through the relationship and the method. Outsourcing feels efficient. Decision fatigue dips. Closeness codes as safety. Inputs get narrowed. Don't dilute the field with outsiders. Access increases. More sessions, more shares, more supervision, framed as care. You feel held, which is the point. Test it quietly. Add a second mirror. A peer with no financial tie. A mentor outside the hierarchy. If curiosity is welcomed, integration is the goal. If jealousy or purity frames appear, outside influence confuses the work. Belonging is being leveraged. Then destabilize. Once dependence is in reach, criteria start moving. Standards shift after the fact. Great first pass, now refine, with no endpoint defined. Ordinary friction gets moralized. A late reply becomes evidence of resistance. A boundary gets translated into pathology. Meanwhile, the rules multiply. You're urged to stay close while this stabilizes, yet stabilization never arrives. Your direct contact with reality gets reframed as suspect. The fix here is procedural. Freeze the spec in writing. What's in, what's out, and how success is scored, and deliver to that. Ask for evaluation against the agreed points only. If the target moves, you've verified destabilization. Finally, harvest. This is extraction. Time, money, status, access, all in exchange for ongoing oversight. Love bombing pairs with cold dips, warmth after compliance, coolness after autonomy. That variable schedule wires you to chase the next good session. Requests escalate subtly. More advanced work, more approvals, more community labor. Caps on budget, frequency, or scope trigger urgency or spiritualized concern. Healthy systems can tolerate caps because caps define the partnership. Harvest systems can't. They frame limits as fear, disloyalty, or regression because limits end extraction. You don't need to judge motives to verify the loop. Log behavior. Idealize sounds like this. Big claims, vague timelines, special access. Your test. Ask for a taper plan and exit criteria. Enmesh sounds like this. We do this together. Don't confuse the signal. Your test. Introduce one outside perspective and watch for collaboration versus control. Destabilize sounds like this. Energy shifted, standards change. Your test: freeze criteria and change tempo. See if urgency softens or spikes. Harvest sounds like this. For your growth, stay close. Here's the next tier. Your test: set caps and watch whether respect or pressure shows up. Microstory: Lena joins a breathwork group after a breakup. Idealize: the guide echoes her language, assures rapid clearing. Lena asks for structure. What changes by when measured? How? She gets poetry, not parameters. Enmesh: the chat swells with we, and outside therapy is discouraged as too cognitive. She adds a therapist anyway. The group leader bristles. Destabilize: when Lena requests fewer sessions during a busy quarter, her field stability is questioned. She's told to increase attendance. Lena freezes criteria: 2 sessions a month, written goals, and logs outcomes. Harvest: she sets a budget cap. Pressure rises. A discount bundle appears for devotion. Lena exits with a boring email: scope, dates, access removal, and her sleep improves in a week. What nobody tells you is why smart people walk into this. 3 normal needs, attachment, certainty, and relief from decision fatigue, are met at once during Idealize and Enmesh. Without tests, your nervous system will read that cocktail as home. The loop isn't about intelligence, it's about engineering. So you engineer back. Structure replaces speeches. You don't argue linguistics, you install guardrails. Signals you can track without a fight. Promises expand while details thin. Idealize. We rises while your independent actions drop. Enmesh. Standards shift post hoc to keep you chasing. Destabilize. Caps trigger urgency or shame, not planning. Harvest. If 3 of 4 are present, assume the loop is operating. Don't announce it. Run experiments. Reduce frequency by 30% for 2 weeks and deliver to spec. Add a 24-hour delay to non-emergencies. Translate jargon into testable steps. Ask for the taper plan in writing. Change 1 variable at a time so the signal is clean. 1 more microstory. A founder routes product decisions through a visionary coach. Idealize: grand frameworks, no timelines. Enmesh: our container, daily approvals. Destabilize: every shipped feature requires rework for coherence. Harvest: upsell to an inner circle. The founder caps hours, freezes criteria, and adds a second advisor. The highs flatten, lows shorten, and the value drops below the cost. Exit becomes obvious. Here's the checkpoint. Healthy help ramps out. It strengthens your calibration, tolerates your no, and plans its exit. Control ramps in. It narrows your inputs, punishes boundaries, and moralizes delay. When in doubt, test with caps, outside mirrors, and frozen specs. If respect rises, you've got support. If pressure spikes, you've mapped the loop. The 60-second trap test. Relief versus clarity. Here's the fast filter you can run mid-decision to catch the trap before it catches you. It takes a minute. It's designed to separate relief from clarity, because relief is anxiety's currency. Clarity is conditions. Step 1. Name the threat sentence. Out loud or on paper, 1 line, no commas. If I say no, they'll abandon me. If I skip this retreat, I'll regress. If I set a boundary, I'll blow everything up. Ugly is fine. The point is to turn fog into an object. Step 2. Classify the signal. Is it specific or vague? Is it about now or the future? Specific now sounds like, don't get in that car, he's drunk. Vague future sounds like, something's off. This path isn't aligned. Specific beats vague. Present safety beats prophecy. Vague future is where avoidance hides. Step 3. Swap to the plausible opposite and watch your body, not your thoughts. If I set a boundary, I'll blow everything up, becomes, if I set a boundary, we'll clarify scope and I'll breathe easier. Sit with it for 5 seconds. Do you feel a relief spike, quick exhale, pressure drop, itch to act now, or a steady, grounded sense that still holds after 2 breaths? Relief spike means your nervous system is chasing an exit. Steady clarity means you've found a condition you can test. Step 4. The safety check. Can this wait 24 hours without real harm? If yes, it's not an emergency. Anxiety compresses time. Intuition tolerates a pause. The delay lets arousal fall so signal can emerge. Tomorrow, if your sentence survives in specific terms, proceed. If it evaporates, it was a state, not a truth. Let's make it concrete. You're tempted to cancel a hard conversation and call it energetic misalignment. Threat sentence. If I talk, it'll explode. Classification, vague future. Swap. If I talk with one clear ask, we'll get data. Body scan, jaw, breath, shoulders. Relief spike at cancel. Steadier feel at a single ask. Safety check. It can wait 24 hours. Tomorrow, you send one line. I need agenda clarity by noon. Can we agree on that? That's clarity with a condition, not purity with a parachute. Another. You feel pulled toward an emergency session after a wobbly week. Threat. If I don't book now, I'll spiral. Classification, vague future. Swap. If I sleep and write a 2-point plan, I'll stabilize. Body shows a fizzy urge at booking. A comma drop at the plan. Safety check. It can wait. You sleep, run CDC briefly, and book next week if needed. The wobble was arousal, not destiny. A relational example. If I say no to the group weekend, I'll be iced out. Vague future. Swap. If I say no kindly and propose a Tuesday dinner, the bond holds. Notice the spike at yes to avoid discomfort, and the steadier feel at a specific alternate. Wait a day. If you still want Tuesday, send it. If the only sentence left is off, that was avoidance. 2 guardrails keep this honest. Don't wordsmith the threat. Speed beats polish. Don't turn the swap into fantasy. Keep it plausible. Add 1 extra safeguard for hot days. No decisions under sleep debt, caffeine spikes, or fresh conflict. When this test points to clarity, you'll hear conditions you can verify. Yes, if scope is written. No, and here's the sustainable alternative. When it points to relief, you'll hear exits that demand immediacy and offer no details. Your move then isn't to argue. It's to wait 24 hours and let your body cool. Then act on what stays specific. The CDC core, COM data context. Before you decide anything big or small, run CDC. COM data context. In that order. Without COM, you'll cherry-pick evidence. Without data, you'll mistake vibes for facts. Without context, you'll misread normal friction as fate. COM first. 60 seconds is enough. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders down and back. Take 4 slow breaths with longer exhales. Inhale through your nose for 4. Exhale through pursed lips for 6. Then label your state in 1 plain sentence. I'm activated and predicting rejection. Naming shifts you from actor to observer. You're not erasing heat. You're creating enough room to choose. Now data. 6 bullets. 3 for, 3 against. Facts, not interpretations. They responded within 24 hours on the last 4 asks is data. They respect me is a story. Budget is $1,200 this month is data. We can make it work is a wish. Translate spiritual or therapeutic jargon into operations. Energy was off becomes they changed scope after approval. Ego becomes they dismissed my boundary. If your bullet doesn't survive a calendar, receipt, or quote test, downshift it to a feeling line and keep moving. Common mistake here. Writing evidence after you've secretly decided. To avoid that, force symmetry. 3 for, 3 against before you weigh them. If you only have 2 against, pause and find the third. If you can't, that's information. Your concern may be thinner than it feels. Also include a best counter to your current leaning. If you're leaning yes, add the strongest no. If you're leaning no, add the strongest yes. You're not both sidesing, you're stress testing. Context last. 2 questions widen the lens. What are the base rates in situations like this? And over what time horizon does this matter? Base rates normalize friction. First collaborations feel stiff. Step-up roles have fuzzy scope for a month. Early boundaries feel awkward. If your no dissolves once base rates arrive, you are arguing with humanness. Time horizon keeps urgency honest. Will this matter in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years? If your 3-week self is frantic and your 3-year self is steady, you're inside a tunnel, not a crisis. Let's run CDC in the wild. You're debating a reconciliation conversation you've postponed 3 times. COM, breath, jaw, shoulders, state label. I'm anxious and predicting explosion. Data for. They initiated a check-in last week. They repaired after the March conflict. They've kept 2 agreements for a month. Data against. They minimized impact in January. Scheduling slipped twice in April. We don't have a shared repair protocol. Context. Base rates. First repair cycles are clunky. Time horizon. Relationship health measured over quarters, not hours. Output. Yes if. You'll propose a 30-minute call with a 2-item agenda and a simple repair structure. 1 impact, 1 action, 1 check-in date. A work example. You're considering upgrading to an advanced container. Com first. Label. I'm keyed up and craving certainty. Data for. 2 specific skills taught. 3 client outcomes match your goals. The schedule fits Tuesdays. Data against. No written taper plan. Upsell pressure after boundaries. Exit terms are vague. Context. Base rates. Programs overpromise. Support that strengthens independence tapers. Time horizon. Cost spreads over 6 months. Habit changes take longer than a weekend. Output. No because. You'll request a written scope with what's in, what's out, an explicit taper and exit. If that arrives, reevaluate. If not, your answer stands. Relational integrity check. You're tempted to label a withdrawal, not aligned. Con. Data for. You've been sleep deprived. You skipped 2 meals. Last week's tough feedback landed after 9 p.m. Data against. The collaboration has delivered on time for cycles. Feedback was specific. You agreed to a trial month. Context. Base rates. Fatigue warps reads. Early iterations sting. Output. Delay 24 hours. Sleep. Eat. Rerun CDC. If the signal persists as a specific condition. Yes, if we cut scope to A and B. Act. If it evaporates, it was arousal. 2. Upgrades make CDC stick. Externalize it. Keep a tiny template in your notes. Con. State. Data. 3-4-3 against. Context. Base rates. Time horizon. Decision. Yes if / no because. When decisions live on paper, you're harder to hustle. And time box it. 90 seconds for low stakes, 6 to 10 minutes for high. If you exceed that, you're probably rehearsing fear. What does the output sound like? Yes if. Yes, if scope is in writing by Friday and approvals are weekly. No because. No, because there's no taper plan. I'm available for a fixed fee handoff. Clean. Short. Actionable. No sermons. Remember the order. Com clears noise. Data grounds you. Context widens you. Skip com, and you'll stack evidence along your adrenaline. Skip data, and you'll mistake intensity for accuracy. Skip context, and you'll pathologize the universal. CDC doesn't make hard choices easy. It makes them honest. And honesty is what breaks the loop. Next, we strip the jargon that muddies tests so your language stops outsourcing your perception. Detoxing spiritual jargon. Translate to tests. Clean reads require clean language, so we strip the halo from our words and turn them into checks you can run. Not because spirituality is fake, but because vague words prevent verification. The rule is simple. If a sentence can't survive a translation into observable behavior, it belongs in the feelings column, not the facts column. Start with a glossary you write yourself. 3 columns, term, neutral translation test. Ego becomes disagreement with a plan. Test. What behavior should change by when measured how? Alignment becomes feasible fit with time, money, and values. Test. Build a schedule and budget. Does it hold for 2 weeks without blowing sleep or costs? Frequency becomes state and capacity. Test. Track sleep, caffeine, conflict. Do decisions shift with those drivers? Here's how it sounds in practice. Your ego is sabotaging this becomes, you disagreed with my scope. Translation lets you ask, what's the agreed scope? And where did I diverge? If no spec exists, you found fog, not sabotage. Keep the container pure becomes, we prefer exclusive influence. Now you can test. For the next 2 weeks, you'll seek one outside perspective. If collaboration shrinks or pressure spikes, exclusivity was the point. Purity language is a red flag because it collapses complexity into loyalty. Catch phrases like high vibration, low vibe, sacred container, advanced work. None are wrong by themselves. The test is whether they open criteria or end questions. Ask, what changes by when, and how will we measure it? If the answer is, you'll feel more surrendered, that's non-falsifiable. If the answer is, deliver agendas 24 hours early, success is 0 same-day edits, that's operational. Build a small translation deck in your notes so your mouth has words when your body is hot. 5 common phrases, 5 neutral rewrites, 5 tests. Trust the transmission becomes follow this process as written for 2 weeks. Test, define inputs, outputs, and a review date. Resistance is showing up becomes you declined an upsell. Test, evaluate outcomes achieved with current scope. If they hold, resistance isn't the issue. Integration is delicate becomes we expect reduced contact. Test, what's the taper schedule? Now shift to personal phrases you use to avoid specifics. It's not aligned becomes I don't have bandwidth for A and B. Test. Show your calendar. Replace B with a smaller alternative you can keep. I'm protecting my energy becomes I'm overloaded from sleep debt and conflict. Test. Delay 24 hours sleep, rerun CDC. If the no survives with a condition, keep it. If it dissolves, it was state. Jargon loves to drift into authority games. A clean counter is to request definitions and measures on the spot. When you say surrender, what are the 2 behaviors you want less of, and the 1 behavior you want more of? If the answer is precise, fewer same-day edits, fewer DMs after 9 p.m., more agenda clarity by noon, you have something you can enact. If the answer floats, more openness, less ego, downgrade confidence, not the person, and return to scope. Translate mystique into incentives. Advanced work becomes more money and access. Test. Ask for taper, exit, and caps in writing. Only share inside becomes exclusivity. Test. Introduce a second mirror and observe respect versus punishment. Spiritual emergency becomes high arousal. Test. Run data context. If conditions appear, act them. If urgency persists without specifics, delay. Let's run a 2-minute example. A facilitator says, "Your vibration is contracting." Translation: "You seem tired and hesitant." Test: "Over the next 2 meetings, I'll send agendas 24 hours early and timebox responses." Success: fewer same-day edits, clearer asks. If praise returns only when you upsell or expand access, you've verified the reinforcement schedule, not your soul. Make it easy to do the right thing by default. Add a footer to tough emails. Here's what changes, by when, and how we'll check it. Paste 3 bullets: observable action, date, success metric. You're training everyone, especially you, to move from poetry to protocol. Final guardrails: don't debate metaphysics mid-heat. Translate first, test second. Keep half your reps private, so you don't feed the performance loop. And when a concept can't survive a definition, a metric, and a second opinion, call it what it is: belief. Belief is fine. Consent requires clarity. Your language can make that possible in under a minute. The 3 anti-bypass tests. You don't need a new philosophy to break bypass. You need 3 tests you can't sweet talk. They're quick, behavioral, and merciless in the best way. Each anchors change in time, body, and outside mirror, so rhetoric can't outrun reality. Test 1. The 72-hour repair window. When harm happens, missed deadline, sharp tone, broken agreement, a clock starts. Inside 72 hours, you initiate a specific repair. The impacted person could feel. Not a reflection, not a vow, an action. I posted the correction. I replaced the item. I scheduled a scope review and removed 2 asks to repay time lost. The point isn't speed theater. It's preventing avoidance from hardening into policy. Why 72? Long enough to regulate and plan. Short enough to block drift. How to run it? Label the event plainly. Name 1 consequence you'll absorb. Commit to the first step with a timestamp. Then send a single short message. 1 sentence acknowledgement. 1 sentence for the action. 1 for the time you'll confirm completion. Keep it boring. I interrupted you twice in the meeting. I've set a speaking order and will confirm it's in tomorrow's agenda. If you miss the window, log it. Apply a pre-agreed micro-consequence and shorten the next window. No shame spirals. Precision over penance. Micro-story. You snapped at a teammate. Within 2 hours, you DM them, post an acknowledgement in the channel, and ask ops to timebox your next speaking turn. The room softens because the repair beat the narrative. That's the test doing its work. Test 2, the body truth check. Words say one thing. Physiology tells on you. Before, during, and after repair or boundary, scan 4 signals. Breath depth, jaw tone, feet contact, voice warmth. Can you breathe into your belly? Is your jaw soft or set? Do your feet feel weight? Does your voice sound warm and variable, or thin and flat? Name what's true in a single clause if you're braced. I'm apologizing, and I notice my chest is tight. That line prevents you from outsourcing tension through performative calm. How to run it? Set a 60-second pre-brief. 3 long exhales, jaw release, shoulders down, feel the ground. Speak the smallest true sentence. Deliver the action. Post-brief. 2 breaths, quick rescan. 1 line logged about shift or no shift. You're not judging signals, you're mapping correlation. If your body loosens after integrity moves, you're integrating. If it only loosens after avoidance, you've found your hook. Micro moment. You're about to set a scope boundary with a cherished client. Pre-brief steadies you just enough to say, I can do A and B, not C. Your voice wobbles, then warms. After, feet feel heavier, in the good way. That's body truth confirming reality, not rhetoric. Test 3. The third-party mirror. Your progress isn't what you announce, it's what the impacted report. Pick 1 to 2 people actually touched by the change, partner, teammate, collaborator, and ask them, separately, for a no-prompt reflection on observable behavior over the last month. Have you seen shorter time to repair? Were my approvals clearer? Record their words verbatim. Do not interpret. If their mirror contradicts your self-story, weight the mirror, then adjust your plan. How to run it. Establish a monthly cadence with 2 mirrors. 1 body mirror, who will name your state in plain language, jaw tight, voice fast, and 1 behavior mirror, who will speak to deltas, fewer interruptions, faster follow-through. Send a 2-paragraph summary before each check. What you attempted, what you logged, what you're changing next. Ask a single question tied to your target. Did my meetings include a speaking order the last 4 weeks? Keep stakes low, keep questions concrete. Micro-story. You swear you're listening better. 2 reports say, you interrupt less, but still recap our ideas as yours. You install rotating note-taker and written attributions. 1 month later, the mirror reads, attributions landed. We feel credited. That's proof, not performance. Now put the 3 together as a tiny ledger. For columns, date, action, body state, mirror note. Example line, May 12th, scope boundary email sent by 3 p.m. Belly breath returned within 2 minutes, teammate. Clarity helped me finish early. You're building a boring evidence bank that crowds out grand narratives. What if the tests fail? Reduce scope or escalate structure, skip shame. If you miss 72 hours, add a micro consequence that redistributes cost toward you. Cover the Friday task, fund lunch, lose scheduling privilege for a week. If your body stays braced through every move, shrink the dose, 1 sentence, 1 meeting, 1 ask. If mirrors won't engage, choose different ones or shift to measurable proxies. Cycle time, response time, on-time arrivals. 2 common traps to avoid. First, ritualizing the tests into performance. Half your reps should be private. Don't turn repair within 72 into a public brand. Second, debating mirrors. If you feel misread, ask for an example you can change. What did I do in Tuesday's meeting that read as minimizing? Then alter that behavior for 2 cycles and recheck. Quick starter pack you can run this week. Choose 1 live mistake. Enact a 72-hour repair. Pair it with a body truth line during delivery. Schedule 2 mirror pings with narrow questions. Then log 1 line in your ledger. If you can do that twice in 7 days, you'll feel the floor harden under your feet. Results over rhetoric. Behavior over biography. Proof over performance. Reality Integration Kit. Part 1. Minimum Effective Healing. We're going to strip your toolkit down until what remains is small enough to repeat and strong enough to show in real life. Minimum effective healing means 2 things only. 1 regulation practice you'll actually do, and 1 behavior you'll actually change in context. Everything else is optional background noise until these 2 hold. First, set the rule. No new tools until 1 behavior holds 30 days. Not perfect, not pretty, held. That constraint protects you from turning healing into a hobby. It forces energy toward decisions that move relationships, projects, and days. Pick the behavior first. Make it relational and observable. 3 reliable lanes. A boundary you'll state and keep, a repair you'll initiate inside 72 hours, or a consistency you'll deliver on time without theater. Choose 1. Write it in plain language with a date and a consequence you'll absorb if you miss. I will not cancel day of this month. If I cancel, I will arrange coverage, pay for dinner, and forfeit next weekend's plan. Yes, it's unglamorous. That's the point. Your nervous system learns from costs and completions, not epiphanies. Now pair that behavior with a 5-minute regulation practice you won't skip. Don't optimize. Choose the move that fits inside your life like a pocket knife. Options. 3 rounds of longer exhales, jaw release, shoulders down before any boundary or repair. A 2-minute orientation scan. 5 things you see, 3 sounds, 1 texture, before you send, or a 5-minute walk with your phone on airplane mode between trigger and reply. Anchor it to the behavior moment, not the morning. You're coupling arousal with agency, so the change wires in. Score outcomes by what others could notice. For boundaries, was the sentence short, clear, and delivered on time? For repairs, did you initiate a specific step within 72 hours the other person could feel? For consistency, did the thing arrive at the agreed fidelity by the agreed date? Track time to repair, on-time rates, tone steadiness. You're measuring behavior deltas, not diary volume. Keep half your reps private. Announce less. Let the evidence accrue without applause. Performance incentives are sneaky. They'll pull you back into showcasing. Private reps build a quiet backbone your body trusts. Let's make it week-ready. Step 1. Choose your single behavior and write the consequence. Step 2. Pick the 5-minute regulation and tether it to the moment of truth. Before boundary, before send, before repair. Step 3. Set 2 conditions that reduce failure. A calendar reminder 24 hours before key commitments, and a default script you can paste under pressure. Step 4. Pick 2 mirrors for the month. One person affected who will confirm whether they felt the change, and one neutral peer who will only score yes/no on delivery. Step 5. Create a tiny ledger, date, behavior, regulation done, y/n, outcome, y/n, mirror note. Microstory. Devin's pattern was ghosting small repairs, then writing long reflections. He chose repair within 72 hours with a consequence. If he missed the window, he'd cover a Friday task. His regulation was the 90-second wave. Exhales, jaw release feet. In month 1, he hit 4 repairs on time. On the 2 he missed, he paid the cost and shortened the next window to 48 hours. By week 3, his body started relaxing at the start of repairs instead of the end. Integration showed up in his team's calendar. Fewer follow-ups, faster decisions. Common frictions and how to smooth them. If you stall at the doorway, heart spikes, mind floods, shrink your entry. Deliver the first 8 words only. I can do A and B, not C. Then stop. If you over-explain, paste your script and step away for 2 minutes. If you feel fake calm, use a body truth clause. I'm keeping this boundary, and I notice I'm tense. That line keeps you honest without derailing content. If you miss a rep, replace shame with structure. Log it. Pay the pre-agreed cost. Adjust one variable. Maybe the regulation needs to move earlier by 60 seconds. Maybe the behavior needs a smaller scope for 7 days. Maybe you need 1 fewer input the night before, sleep, devices, caffeine. Keep changes boring and singular so you can attribute results. If others push back, don't perform your boundary. Repeat it once. Offer a small alternate if appropriate. Then let silence carry your conviction. You're teaching your nervous system that short, steady output is enough. Quick kit you can install today. Write 1 boundary sentence and its consequence. Paste a 90-second regulation script into your notes. Set a reminder before your next likely wobble. Choose 2 mirrors. Start the ledger with tomorrow's date. Then run 1 rep this week with half private. In a month, the loudest thing about your healing will be the calendar. That's minimum. Effective. And it's how you climb out of the trap. Reality Integration Kit, Part 2, Controlled Exposure. You've got 1 behavior and 1 regulation anchored. Now we widen your range, deliberately, lightly, and with guardrails, so ordinary unpredictability stops feeling like proof you're failing. Controlled exposure means dosing small uncertainty in 4 arenas: body, mind, relationships, environment, while keeping stakes reversible and pace humane. Start with micro reps, the dailies that take under 2 minutes and stack fast. Pick 1 honest sentence per day. Not confession, precision. I don't have a view yet. Let's keep this to 30 minutes. Pair it with a 30-second cold finish at the end of your shower, or a 60-second device-free slot before you send any hot message. Those 3 together, truth, cold, pause, train your system to surf a mild surge without outsourcing control. Add meso reps weekly, 10 to 60 minutes. 3 good ones. A structured repair talk using 1 impact and 1 request. A simple workout with slow lowering phases that teach you to meet discomfort cleanly. A nature walk without headphones so your attention widens and your nervous system learns safety outside scripts. Schedule them like appointments. Predictability builds trust. Trust opens range. Rules keep exposure from turning into drama. Change 2 variables max per week. If you add honest sentences and a cold finish, don't also start a new workout and call your ex keep difficulty increases to 5 to 10%. If 20 seconds of cold is doable, go to 30, not 2 minutes. Make stakes reversible. 1 test email, not a public manifesto. 1 truth about logistics, not identity. You're measuring capacity, not proving courage. Choose arenas intentionally. In the body lane, think tempo and breath. Do 3 sets of a lightweight movement with a 4-second lower, 2-second pause, controlled up, exhale on the work. Notice the urge to rush. Stay slow, one more rep than you want. In the mind lane, try a 5-minute idea sprint, 15 bad solutions to a real problem, or inversion. How could I guarantee this fails? Then pick one tiny fix you can ship. In relationships, run a one-kind truth rep. Smallest thing that would improve collaboration. Deliver it with warmth and stop. In environment, alter context. Rearrange your desk, choose a new route. Eat one meal without a screen. Novelty without cliffs. Debrief structure makes the gains stick. After any rep, ask 3 lines. Surprise, avoid change. Surprise pulls the learning forward. Silence after my truth made the other person open up. Avoid names the micro-escape. I added maybe at the end. Change records a concrete shift. Breath steadied in 90 seconds. Then write one keep memo. Keep. Speak the boundary without maybe. A micro-story to anchor it. Aaron dreaded unscripted stand-ups, so he dodged them with long emails. We built a 2-week ladder. Week 1. 1 honest sentence in stand-up plus a 20-second cold finish. Week 2. Add a 5-minute idea sprint before stand-up and a 10-minute device-free walk after. Surprises. The single honest line shortened meetings. Cold made the first 60 seconds of speaking feel familiar. The walk stopped rumination. By day 10, heart spikes dropped, not because he became charismatic, but because uncertainty showed up and nothing broke. You'll hit hijacks. The shadow loves edges. Name it on sight. Trigger, roll, inverted desire. Trigger, pushback. Roll, genius explaining. Inverted desire. Permission to say, I'm not sure. Then do a 5-minute roll, reversal out loud. Argue for the opposite. It's not a philosophy test. It's range training. Next rep, practice the smallest behavior that honors the disowned part. 1. I don't know yet. 1. No thanks. 1 messy draft. Keep the 90-second wave handy. Feel, label, exhale weighted, widen, pendulate, so your cortex stays online while you act. Safety beats spectacle. If you're sleep deprived, flooded, or caffeinated to the gills, shrink reps to observation only. Walk, breathe, note a sensation, and save the truth line for tomorrow. Exposure under depletion teaches the wrong lesson. Common mistakes. Jumping to max difficulty because you're impatient, then deciding chaos doesn't work. Or stacking 5 changes at once and calling the mess data. Or turning exposure into identity. I'm the brave one now, which is just the mask in a different outfit. Keep it boring, light, repeatable. The right weight is the one you can lift again tomorrow. Quick start for this week. Daily. 1 honest sentence, 30-second cold finish, 60-second device-free pause before hot sends. Weekly. 1 structured repair talk, 1 slow-tempo workout, 1 headphone-free nature walk. Ladder. Increase any single rep by 10% after 2 easy wins. Debrief. Surprise, avoid, change, 1 keep. Progress markers are humble. Shorter time to start after a surge, faster return to baseline, less rehearsal before tiny truths, and a quieter body after you hold a line. If dread spikes, shrink the dose. If you forget it was too small, raise it slightly. Exposure earns raw material. Your debrief turns it into wiring. Repeat quietly. Capacity grows where performance used to. Shadow encounters without bypass. Meanwhile, the edges you've been training will pull up something deeper. The parts of you that don't fit the polished story. This is where most people reach for bypass. Don't. Meet the shadow with structure, so you add range instead of a new persona. Use a simple triad. Trigger, roll, inverted desire. The trigger is what spikes you. The roll is the costume you slide into to stay safe. The inverted desire is the thing you secretly want but won't admit. Translate it in 20 seconds. Trigger, pushback. Roll, enlightened explainer. Inverted desire, permission to say, I'm unsure. Naming reduces static without deflating you. Then run a 5-minute roll reversal. Argue the opposite sincerely, standing, out loud. If you condemn neediness, make the adult case for expressing needs. If you worship composure, make the case for appropriate anger. You're not switching teams. You're loosening rigidity, so more choices are available under stress. Common shadows show up predictably. Superiority. You pride yourself on clarity and calm. Trigger, messy emotion. Roll, adjudicator. Inverted desire. Permission to be angry or moved. Helper fawn. You pride yourself on service. Trigger, others' boundaries. Roll, savior. Inverted desire. To say no and still belong. Control. You pride yourself on standards. Trigger, ambiguity. Roll, architect of everything. Inverted desire. to risk a B- and remain safe. Purity, you pride yourself on devotion. Trigger, dissent. Role, guardian. Inverted desire, to tolerate mixed rooms without losing identity. Build micro-reps that honor the disowned trait in low stakes. 1 kind truth. 1 no thanks. 1 messy draft. 1 I don't know yet. Deliver, then breathe for 90 seconds to keep cortex online. Feel, label, exhale longer, widen your gaze, pendulate hotspot to neutral. Action plus regulation wires faster than reflection alone. A quick scene. Dana bristles at passionate colleagues, then lectures about calm communication. She runs the triad: trigger, raised voices; role, superior mediator, inverted desire, to voice irritation plainly. Role reversal. 5 minutes arguing that anger is information. Micro-rep. I'm irritated we missed the brief. Can we reset? She logs surprise. The room relaxes. Avoid, she added maybe. Change, breath steadied in 2 minutes. Keep. Name the irritation before solutions. Safety first when the heat spikes. Practice on logistics before values. Tell the truth about scope, timing, or format before identity. Keep stakes reversible. A single request, a pilot, a small boundary. If your sleep, caffeine, or conflict debt is high, shrink to observation only. Notice sensations, postpone the rep 24 hours, and rerun CDC. Watch for 2 traps. Confession theater, oversharing to buy approval. Integration is behavior change, not biography. And analysis as avoidance, mapping 10 archetypes while refusing 1 boundary. When you catch either, reduce scope. 1 line, 1 ask, 1 consequence. Redundancy keeps you moving when 1 lane jams. If a role reversal feels too hot, go body. Slow eccentric sets with exhale on effort. Then deliver a single sentence. If speaking backfires, write it and send earlier in the day. Different routes, same objective. Contact without collapse. Microstory. A founder despises needy employees and prides himself on independence. Triad flags the inverted desire. Care when overwhelmed. Role reversal softens the stance. Micro-rep, a weekly ask. Own this decision without me to 1 report plus, I need the summary Friday. Within 2 weeks, irritation drops. His jaw unclenches in meetings. Not because he became less exacting, but because he owned a need he used to punish. Run a 2-minute daily shadow pass while this is fresh. After an edge, jot 3 lines. Trigger, role, inverted desire. 1 sentence for a micro-rep tomorrow that honors the desire. Pair it with the 90-second wave. Then stop. Shadow work bloats easily. Keep it lean so it sticks. How do you know you're not bypassing? 3 signs. Your range increases. You can be kind and firm, soft and specific, excited and measured. Your latency shortens. You act sooner with less rehearsal. And your aftermath quiets. Less rumination, a steadier body after small truths. If dread spikes for days, shrink the dose. If pride spikes, keep half private. If fog spikes, translate the scene into behaviors. Last move, the hard one. When someone invokes non-duality, purity, or destiny to avoid accountability, hold your line. We can talk meaning after we make the repair. Boundary isn't ego, it's how we test the teaching. Keep it calm, brief, repetitive. The goal isn't to win. It's to stay in contact with what's happening and act. Range is the antidote to spiritual costume. Communities and coaches, safety, taper and exit. While you're rebuilding reality contact, you'll enter rooms, cohorts, sanghas, masterminds, therapy containers. Some help will widen you. Some will shrink you. The quickest way to tell is simple. Healthy help tapers access. Unhealthy help expands it. Install taper on day 1. When you start with any coach or group, pre-commit a taper plan in writing. Month 1, high contact to stabilize. Month 2, reduced contact while you run your own system. Month 3, handoff plus 1 retrospective. Add scope. What's in, what's out, who decides what, and response times. Add exit terms. How to conclude, how refunds or final invoices work, and what happens to shared assets. If a provider can't sign off on taper, scope, and exit, you've already learned what you needed. Red flags cluster fast. Secrecy, off-record instructions, inner circle channels you can't reference. Purity tests, language that sorts members into high vibration versus contracted, loyal versus lost. Urgency, this window closes tonight. Before the energy changes, don't break the container. Exclusivity, discouraging second opinions as dilution. None of these prove malice. All of them point to incentives. If independence reduces their money, power, or status, pressure will arrive disguised as care. Protect yourself with a boundary ladder you climb only as needed. Reduce frequency, reduce scope, conclude. Each rung is its own short message. I'm consolidating to weekly check-ins. Then, going forward, I'll handle A and B independently. Let's review C only. Finally, I'm concluding this engagement on date. No speeches. Paper beats debate. After any call that adjusts terms, send a written summary the same day. What we agreed, by when, and where it lives. You're building a fence out of paragraphs. Microstory. Matteo joined a high-touch business collective. Month 1, energy, electric. By month 2, he noticed deliverables needed daily approvals, and integration meant more sessions. He asked for a taper plan, got poetry. He moved to rung 1, weekly contact, without announcing. Pressure rose. He froze criteria in writing, set a monthly hour cap, and added a second advisor. The warmth cooled, the upsell escalated. He climbed rung 3, conclusion, via a boring email. 2 weeks later, sleep returned, output rose. Use witnesses and documents. If your context requires a closing meeting, handoff, HR, bring a third party or record per policy. Follow with an email, date, decisions, deliverables, and access changes. Change shared credentials the day you give notice. End auto-renewals early. Don't rely on goodwill. Scarcity emails will appear. Today only, last chance to stay in the work. Treat them like weather. Noted. Declined. If you anticipate blowback, plan quiet. Send your notice when you can step away for 24 hours. Silence lets dust settle without you patching feelings. Expect 4 retaliation moves. Smear, guilt, urgency, triangulation. Smear, character stories to mutuals. Respond once neutral. I ended the engagement and wish them well. Any questions can be directed to me in writing. Guilt, after all I've done. Use the script. I appreciate your support. I'm choosing X. Urgency, can't wait. Use your standard delay. I'll review tomorrow. Triangulation, pulling allies in. Keep it level. I'm reducing commitments this quarter. For spiritual or community settings, swap charisma for governance. Ask to see process documents. Code of conduct, grievance procedures, refund terms, who adjudicates what. If none exist, that's the data. If they exist, use them by the book. Submit behaviors with dates, not diagnoses. Propose resolution steps, and ask for written outcomes. Prevent heart-only circles from replacing accountability. No reconciliation rituals for at least 30 days after harm. Opt-in only, veto rights for the harmed. At work, anchor to policy. Reference handbook sections, rather than personalities. Per section 5.3, this is retaliation after a protected activity. Ask for documented investigation, response timelines, and confidentiality where applicable. For freelancers, read the contract aloud. If clauses are breached, send concise notice referencing the exact section and remedy. Decide ahead what dollar amount merits legal escalation. Small claims and platform disputes can be effective without lawyers. Tone matters. Grey rock wins, neutral, brief, repetitive. Noted. See previous email for scope. You're a help desk, not a sparring partner. Pre-write 3 templates, frequency reduction, scope reduction, termination. Add a universal reply. I'm reducing commitments this quarter. If pressed for reasons, repeat it. Repetition signals resolve better than arguments. Redesign your help map to prevent single-point failure. 2 mentors with different incentives. 2 peers for trade notes. A therapist if trauma got loud. And your own written plan. Set cadence rules. Mentors monthly, peers bi-weekly, therapist weekly if needed. Your plan every Sunday. Independence becomes a system, not a vow. Microstory. Priya's meditation Sangha discouraged mental therapy. She added a therapist anyway. When she mentioned it, the teacher warned of frequency dilution. Priya translated the claim, exclusive influence. She set a cap, 2 classes monthly, and asked for the Sangha's repair policy in writing. The warmth cooled. A testimonial request followed. Priya declined with "not for me," then exited with a procedural note. A month later, her practice was smaller, steadier, and hers. Last piece, rehearse. Your body needs to hear your exits before the moment. Say the lines 3 times. Pair each with 1 breath and a 10-second pause. Boredom is safety. When the day arrives, your nervous system will recognize the cadence. Clean exits are quiet. You're not proving you're good. You're moving on. Daily calibration. Morning, midday, evening, weekly. Morning is where you tilt the day toward contact over performance. 3 minutes is enough. Before you touch a screen, run a body scan top to bottom. Jaw, neck, shoulders, chest, belly, hips, legs, feet. Tag each area tight, loose, or neutral. Don't fix anything. Then take 2 longer exhales than inhales and say your values out loud. Integrity, steadiness, care, or your 3. Anchor 1 intention that fits today's reality. Integrity means 1 clear boundary. Steadiness means I'll keep 1 promise. Care means I'll leave buffer time. Leave the room with 1 kind act cued. A short check-in text, prepping a snack for later, or moving $5 toward a debt. Kindness trains agency without applause. Midday is your clarity gate. Any yes or no that costs time, money, or energy goes through a 60-second pass. Threat sentence, classify specific/vague and now/future. Swap to a plausible opposite. Watch your body, and ask if it can wait 24 hours. If the answer is yes, you pause. If the sentence survives tomorrow with conditions, you move. If not, you mark it as arousal and carry on. Pair that with a micro CDC. 2 slow exhales, 3 bullets for and against, 1 base rate. You'll be shocked how often urgency collapses when you breathe and write 9 words. Evening is 2 lines, not a memoir. Where did I act? Where was I real? 1 instance each. Acted. Sent the scope email by 3. Real. Said, I don't have a view yet in stand-up. No grading. If the page stays blank 3 nights in a row, shrink the target. Choose smaller actions and smaller truths until they fit. Then add 1 tiny hygiene step that protects tomorrow's range. Move your phone out of the bedroom. Lay out the boundary script you'll need at noon, or block a 10-minute walk. Weekly is where you prevent drift from turning into doctrine. Do 4 moves. First, run a pre-mortem on 1 upcoming decision. Imagine it's 6 weeks out, and it went badly. Name 3 plausible reasons. Unclear scope, hero culture, fuzzy ownership. Add base rates, and write 1 guardrail you'll install now. Second, update your flags. Red, non-negotiables that end things. Green, must-haves that keep you. Tolerables, imperfections you accept with eyes open. Post them where your future self can't miss them. Third, schedule controlled exposure. 1 structured repair conversation, 1 headphone-free nature walk, 1 slow-tempo workout. Fourth, review your ledger. Did the 72-hour window hold? Did your body loosen after integrity? Did your mirrors note a delta? If not, adjust 1 lever only. Shrink scope, add a cap, or move your regulation earlier by 60 seconds. Safeguards keep the system honest. When sleep debt is loud, caffeine is high, or fresh conflict just hit, you're inside a fog. Enact a pause rule. No permanent decisions for 24 to 72 hours unless safety requires it. Replace yes/no with a micro step. Write the agenda, set a check-in, or send a single clarifying ask. You're telling your nervous system, we still move, just smaller. Make the rhythm visible so it survives busy weeks. Put a sticky where you work. Morning, scan, values, 1 kindness. Midday, 60 seconds before yes/no. Evening, 2 lines. Friday, pre-mortem, flags, exposure, ledger. Tie each to things you never skip. Skim when you boil water. Gate decisions before you open your calendar. 2 lines after you brush your teeth. Friday review right after lunch. A quick human day. Morning, you scan jaw tight, shoulders lifted. Values: honesty, steadiness, care. Intention: 1 clean boundary, 1 on-time promise, 10-minute buffer. Midday, a hot DM lands. Can you jump on now? You run the gate. Threat: if I say no, I'll lose standing. Vague future. Swap: if I protect the block, I'll ship and breathe. It can wait. You reply: I'm heads down until 2. Send the agenda. Evening, 2 lines. Acted: ship draft by 1. Real: said not for me to the upsell. Friday, your pre-mortem flags scope creep. You add a written spec. Your ledger shows 2 72-hour repairs on time. A mirror notes, fewer same-day edits. That's range accumulating in small, boring layers. Keep the loop humble. When you miss, don't narrate. Log it. Pay the pre-agreed cost. Change 1 variable. When you hit, don't perform. Let the calendar carry the proof. The point of daily calibration isn't perfection. It's contact, again and again, until reality feels safer than rhetoric. The 30-day anti-trap plan will make this simple, boring, and finishable. For weeks. Each week has a theme, a few tiny reps, and one checkpoint you can't fake. Week 1. Identity audit, 3 mediocre moments and body pairing. Identity audit, 1 page. Rooms down the left, work, home, online community. For each, write your default role and 1 exit line. Expert, here's what I know and don't. Caretaker, I can do A and B, not C. Entertainer, I'm okay with a quiet moment. Chameleon, my preference is X. 3 mediocre moments this week. 1 written, 1 spoken, 1 relational. Send a B- update with no hedges. Say 1 half-formed thought in a low-stakes room. Offer 1 small, clean preference. Use the 60-second gate first. Log A1 before, A2 1 minute, A10 10 minutes. Do nothing between. Body pairing. Before each rep, run a 90-second wave. Feel, name, exhale longer, widen, pendulate hot spot to neutral. You're coupling arousal with agency, so the rep wires in. Checkpoint. 2 B- sends with stable outcomes, 1 honest line delivered. If anxiety doesn't drop by minute 10, shrink difficulty next time. Week 2. Reverse mirror logging and private integrity. Reverse mirror, nightly, 2 minutes. Score effort 1 to 10 and value 1 to 10 for a single value, honesty, steadiness, or care. Add 1 sentence on the action that earned the score. Results band. Private integrity. 1 aligned act no one will see daily. Decline scope in your planner. Delete a reflex apology. Schedule a rest block you usually sacrifice. Do not post about it. Your nervous system needs internal fuel. Midday prompt. What value am I about to practice in this next task? If you can't answer in 1 plain sentence, you're drifting into performance. Shrink the action and try again. Checkpoint. 5 nights logged, for private acts done, 1 moment of quiet warmth noticed. If you're grading outcomes again, restart with a single value for 48 hours. Week 3. 1 clean no, 2 device-free blocks, 2 express not impressed talks. Pick 1 recurring yes from fear and retire it for 7 days. Use a soft closed no. Not for me. Feel free to proceed without me. Or, thanks for asking, I'll pass. Pre-write it, speak it once, then step away. No follow-up justification. Expect guilt. Pair the no with a private kindness unrelated to the request. 2 device-free blocks total, 30 to 60 minutes each. Walk, cook, or sit. Restless is normal. If it spikes, shrink to 20 minutes and add a pen to catch ideas instead of scrolling. 2 express not impress conversations this week. Set a private intention. Express 1 real opinion. Ask 1 real question. No tap dancing, no expert mask. If you overshare, dial the next 1 down to a single line. Checkpoint. 1 clean no delivered with 0 walkbacks. 2 device-free blocks completed. 2 lower performance conversations done. If pushback arrives, repeat the line once and let silence carry it. Week 4. Combine, then 1 high discomfort truth with low risk. Keep 1 mediocre moment, nightly reverse mirror, and at least 1 private integrity act. Maintain your no if it resurfaces. Choose 1 truth that feels a few degrees hot and keep stakes reversible. Logistics, not identity. I need a Tuesday deadline. I'm cutting scope to A and B. I don't have a view yet, send criteria. Run CDC first, then deliver 1 line with the 90-second wave. Rehearse exits and boundaries aloud. Frequency, scope, conclusion, so your mouth remembers under load. 3 reps each, paired with breath. Checkpoint. 1 higher discomfort truth delivered. Rehearsal time down at least 20% for 2 events. Recovery faster in 1 room. Hedges reduced in 3 messages. Graduation criteria. 3 consecutive days where being 2% truer feels easier than acting. You'll notice shorter emails, fewer hedges, quicker repair starts, and a warmer baseline. Relapse plan. Resume sequence. Mediocre moment. Reverse mirror for a single value. 1 private act. Then 1 soft no in 7 days. Add a micro consequence that redistributes cost to you when you slip. Cover a shift, fund lunch, lose scheduling privilege. Run a 5-minute debrief. Which lever did I skip? Com, data, or context? Which wall leaked? Time, environment, or social? Tighten 1 lever. Then move 1 inch today. 2 guardrails keep the month honest. The pause rule. No permanent decisions under sleep debt, caffeine spikes, or fresh conflict unless safety demands it. The 50% private rule. At least half of all reps, truths, nos, repairs stay off stage. By day 30, your calendar and ledger will tell the story. 2 timely repairs, 1 maintained no, 3 small truths, fewer hedges, and a slower pulse after boundaries. Boring proof beats a perfect plan every time. Real healing is what stays true when nobody's watching, and when somebody's testing it. Run the 60-second clarity test today on one decision that costs time or energy. This week, do 1 72-hour repair the impacted person can feel. If this helps, subscribe. Next up is the Boundaries Deep Dive with word-for-word scripts and taper plans you can paste. Want the ledger template and translation deck? They're in the follow-up. Your calendar shows what you believe. Change 1 slot tonight, then let the evidence talk.